Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Soul Centered CEO Show. I am so excited for this week's episode because I am joined by my dear friend, magical Daniel. Welcome, Dan.
Hey.
I think most people have already hopefully seen the other episode that we did, but it's been several months, right? So
It's been a
you know,
while. We can
not that
re-sparkle this sparkle. We can
we can
redo the
bring
sparkly
it on
things.
back.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So, and I was just sharing with you that I feel like I should have already memorized your bio because I'm like, I've done it so many times, but really you are a wizard of all things, right? All things personal development, spiritual growth. You're a speaker, you're an author, you're a philanthropist, you're a man among town, and all kinds of so
That's all they need to know. Like they need to know that I'm a man about town. None of the other things are important. That's
it's
all
really
that
not
matters.
absolutely. So we're really excited really to dive back into what
Mm.
magic that you're creating right now because you know your whole concept with your teaching and your vision and your mission is really to help people, I would say, create a beautiful and spacious life of abundance, but
Hmm.
also ease and grace, right? So
Hmm.
what you really have done is create beautiful opportunities and teachings around how people can create more
Hmm.
abundance and do it in a sustainable way that also doesn't require necessarily like nose to the grindstone, right? So
Yeah.
like I'd love for you to maybe share a little bit about what it is that you are really on a mission to do and
Hmm.
kind of the ways that you are bringing that vision and mission to life.
Thank you. Well, thanks first and foremost for like, hey, let's do this again. I'm like, yeah, let's do it again. And on the bio point, like, guys, dreamwithdan.com, you can read the bio. There's like a whole altar and temple, digital temple of Dan online that tells the bio. What really matters is connection, right? And getting to hear from a real human. So that part, there's your, what is it, where they say you're absolved for not remembering the bio. But abundance, I think it's so often we forget that abundance is our natural state.
Right.
And I think, people get upset that I don't spend as much time, for example, speaking about the couple decades of spiritual stuff that I know, or I don't talk enough about past lives and soul contracts and all the other thing. But you know what? We're here having an experience, and in this experience, we've forgotten that the natural way to be is what's reflected in nature. And nature does move with ease and grace. It always seeks the most easy way. Easy is natural. Now, easy doesn't mean that there won't be contrast and polarity because nature also has polarity. Yes, everything grows, but things die in nature. Things are eaten by other things in nature. It's part of the balance and the contrast and polarity of life. So, when we're talking about ease and flow, we're not saying that things are going to not come with their obstacles and they're not going to come with their challenges. But those things, if they're viewed from an expansive perspective, can actually be for our expansion. They can actually support our growth. They can teach us preference. I'm all about people getting to a place where they have the space, as you said, to do what their soul feels called to do, not what their soul is here to do, what their soul feels called to do, without limitation being the obstacle to that.
Right. Beautiful. And it's interesting. I was just having a conversation earlier today with a mutual friend of ours that was we were sharing about how when we have to do things to pay the
Mhm.
bills or we feel like we've got to wake up and make offers or hustle or do all these things that don't really feel in alignment in order to pay for things, it never feels good. And
Mhm.
actually those offers or those programs don't actually magnetize the people that we usually probably want to work with anyway, right? Because it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like something we want to do. And I think what's beautiful is you have this entire body of work that you've created that really shares other ways to do it that are
Mhm.
alternative ways where they're not forced to do things they don't want to do.
Mm.
Again,
I mean, look, my work has got like over the past, I'd say, year or so, it's kind of added more substance to the corporate businessy entrepreneur vein, and then there's the everyday people that just want abundance vein, right?
Yeah.
And both of those have an angle on this very thing you said, because as you said, a business owner who gets up and I've got to crush it, or I've got to take out the competition, or I want to sell my lovely Dewberry widgets so that I can touch the world, but then I need to pay the bills. Like, people will feel you before they will hear you.
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
offer created from a place of desperation, it's not seeking, it's not intended to add to people's lives. So people, especially more sensitive people, and there are more people who are becoming more energetically sensitive, will feel the pull. Not the
Right.
pull towards you, but the pull that kind of makes them feel icky. Whether they're going to
Yeah.
have more objections and they're not even going to know where those objections are coming from, or whether they're going to, just not resonate with it, they're not going to show up for your thing. Like, I don't have sales conversations with people. And people are like, what? If you listen to any of the conversations that you've ever had, that I've ever recorded, where there's a quote unquote sales conversation, it's not that. And does money get left on the table? Yeah, money gets left on the table. But for me, a sales conversation is really an empowering opportunity for me to share something that's going on in my world with someone who has indicated that they're aligned by opting in to have a conversation about it. Me sharing what the details of that are, and fitting into the space to see whether both of us are aligned in continuing in partnership through
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, a sales conversation is liberating someone from a pain that they're in, providing a solution for which I'm going to be remunerated through the appreciation exchange of them giving me money for that. Now,
Right.
if I don't feel that I can liberate from them from their pain, the conversation is going to end, and that's happened. Or the
Yeah.
conversation is going to end with me saying, I don't think I'm the person for you, or I can't help you, which often happens. Or, hey, I don't think I'm the best person for you. Or, hey, you don't need to pay anyone to do this. This is what you need to do, which has happened. People are like, what? There was someone that actually got mad with me. We had an event, it was last month or something like that. Maybe it was March. It was March, actually. And someone got the replay of the event, and there was an offer that I made on that, and they were like, I want this. I was like, you can't have it anymore, sold out. How can it be sold out? Blah, blah, blah. And they were mad. You didn't tell me about this. How could you not tell me about this? And they were arguing with me for not taking it. I was like, but you don't need it, because here's this and here's it. No, you don't understand. So that's more what I get than anything. But it comes from, I believe, a really clean space of any business that I have isn't about me getting things from people, it's about adding to people. I also strategically, I don't have a dependence on any one income stream. So I don't go into conversations with people needing to get, I'm going to conversations saying, what can I add to you? On a
Right.
personal level, whether someone's got a career and they need it because they need to pay the bills, or they've got a side hustle that they need it, that's not going to add and fill you up. It's actually going to drain you. And that's going to make you less available for your love relationship, less available for your family, less available for your health, less available for your sanity. But all of this comes back to, I believe, and this goes back to my earlier point, connecting to our natural state of abundance. Because if
Yeah.
I'm in my natural flow of abundance, I don't need to get something from any particular business venture or sales call, because I know my abundance is assured. I don't have to do this thing in order to pay the bills, because I know my abundance is assured. And it's a very much more powerful place from which to create.
Oh, it's so beautiful, so powerful. And I know you also you've shared with me before your concepts of like micro shifting, like small incremental movements that you can
Hmm.
make. If someone isn't in place where they're not fully in that belief that
Hmm.
money is available, it comes easily, I don't have to
Hmm.
hustle, worry about it. What would be some micro shifts or some advice that you might recommend to them to get
Hmm.
them from the place that they are into that other place of more abundance is my birthright and it comes with me, you know?
So, so my signature program is called Micro to Millions, and
Mhm.
Micro to Millions actually addresses this very thing, because
Mhm.
Micro to Millions is about breaking down a goal or like a level of abundance that I want to experience. Because when I know what life I want to live, then I can see what value that I will be exchanging with others in order to have that life. Then I can set goals, and then I can use the Micro to Millions formula in order to meet that goal without being stressed about the future goal, but by actually making those micro shifts on the journey to it. There's a simple question I always ask people. um, if I gave you $500,000, Haley, And I said, okay, let's sit down and work out all of your energetic blocks to moving beyond this level of wealth. Let's work on your mindset. Your mindset is assured. And I told you exactly what to do with 500,000. Could you make it into $1 million?
Absolutely.
So if you know you can do that, let's halve that again. 250. Can you get to 500 if exactly the same thing? You've got the power of limit. You know limit taggers work. The power of eight.
I don't think so.
Great book. So what limit tagger actually demonstrated scientifically is that when 8 or more people come together and form an intention, it actually adds power to it, and miracles can happen. So even the work that Dr. Joe Dispenza does around healing circles that he does at his events, I've seen miracles, people blind, seeing, ALS, walking. It's using that same concept. He included Lynn's work. I know because I was doing his work before he met Lynn, and that's so we use that concept as well in micro to millions. It's collaborative energy, everybody moving towards. So we're not asking for ourselves, we're asking for everybody else that's in the group and whatever come to the group to be able to reach that particular goal. So if you've got the energy of a massive family of people that are loving on you and saying, hey, get from 250 to 500. And then
Yeah.
again, let's look at where your blocks are in your energy field. Let's look at any trauma around being at that level of abundance. Let's look at your mindset and ensure that we don't even look at certainty. And that's a trick. You just need to be open to the possibility of getting from 250 to 500. And then I say, here are exact strategies based on your unique money DNA that can get you from 250 to 500. You can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the
Beautiful.
crazy thing. And I originally learned the structure, that framework from one of my first mentors, a guy called Stuart Goldsmith. And he did an experiment in the early 2000s where he basically said to all of his peeps like me, and here, I want you to go and find a penny on the street. And if you take a penny and double a penny 28 times, you get to 1.28 million. A penny, 28 times. If you take 100 and double it 14 times, rounding down a couple of times along the way, it's over 1.2 million, $100. So the Micro to Millions program, it's get you from 0 to 100 and then holding your hand, moving from a very no charge 100 to 200. Okay, let's look at getting clear on the intention around it. Let's look at the emotional relationship to money. Let's look at healing any limiting beliefs you have around this, and here's exact strategies. And we take you through all 14 steps. And you don't have to go through all 14 steps. Maybe you just want to get to the six-figure club. There you go. 7 steps. 7 steps. You're in the six-figure club. Maybe you just want to just pay off your credit card debts because you just want to be free from debt because you're happy with your job and your 401k is okay. Fine. Maybe you just need to go through 5 or 6 steps. But we hold your hand every step of the way. We've got a beautiful community that we're now just opening back up to the world. We've got people that have gone all the way to millions. We've got the people that have gone all the way to six figures, people that have created financial freedom. But it all comes down to understanding that it's a combination of collaborative energy in the form of group intention, healing any of the blocks and creating the vibrational flow expansively towards each of these micro shifts, opening up to the different mentality that needs to be in your field at every one of these steps. No single one of these steps has got this has got the same mentality to the next. The strategies, the emotional relationship, the type of mental resilience that you need to go from 250 to 500 is very different from $200 to $400.
Right.
And incidentally, the early steps are easy, the later steps are easy, those middle steps. We see people when they get to the 5-figure club, between 5-figure and 6-figure, that's where people's edges get hit because believe it or not, many people don't know what it feels like to have $5, $10, $15,000 sitting in the account and just able to be there without anybody laying claim on it. It's a very weird place for people to be because we live in very much a debt slavery mentality and a wage slavery mentality. So creating that freedom and then working with the opportunity to heal there, and it leads to other things too. We found more and more that when people do address this relationship to money and creating abundance, bodies heal, people find love. And we've even seen that people are like, do you know what? I've made a bit of money. I'm not really interested in any more money. I found love. I feel healed the relationship with my parents. My body's good. I feel at peace. I've discovered my purpose. Do you know what? I'm not so angry at my boss anymore. I kind of love my job. I don't need any more money, but thank you. So healing happens in this process that moves way beyond money. We just use money as a measurable place that we can actually track our ability to manifest deliberately and consciously what we want to create.
Right. Oh God, so powerful. And I love the correlation between the healing, right?
Mhm.
Because um, I've always heard there's such a connection between money and love. And when you
Mhm.
can't receive one, you can't receive the other. So it's almost open up to receiving, right? You
Mhm.
receive everything, which
Mm.
is a beautiful and powerful expression and experience, right? And I think so
Mhm.
many people are blocked in whatever way. Either they don't believe it's possible, or they're
Mhm.
afraid of playing a bigger game. They're afraid of what their family might say, or
Mhm.
how they might be perceived. And I think it's I love how comprehensive the framework is, and you've no stone unturned, right? Like you
We're
lay out,
taking care of all of it.
right? It's
Because
so
the crazy
cool.
thing is, I mean, look, to your point about love and money, I teach about a concept called bleed theory. And what
Right?
bleed theory invites us to do is to look at the truth of how we are as humans. The separation between the parts of ourself is an illusion that exists at the mental level for us. It's a belief that we buy into and then end up following in our results, but it's not true. Just like the
Right.
separation between us as people. There's no real separation here. We're all the same energy expressing in different form. The reality that we witness of that separation is an illusion that we just signed up to. It's the same with ourselves. So the separation between manifesting abundance in my health and manifesting abundance in my wealth, it's an illusionary, it's an
Um,
illusionary line. It's the same like with my relationships with others, and my relationship with money. It's an illusionary line. So when I lose that illusionary line and I'm open to my being whole as a being, when I do focus my intention on healing a particular part of my being, whether it's my financial abundance et al., then that healing can spread. When we use money as that thing, we've got a measurable thing. If I'm going from $100 to $200, and I set the intention and I do the healing and I open up to the belief and I pull it off, I've now got a measurable thought marker to the fact that I set out to create something and I did it. By the time then I get to whatever my edge is, and we all have an edge, whether it's 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand, by then I will have actually gone through the process of successfully manifesting several times. I'll be in a momentum that means that when I do hit my block, my mind's like, hang on a minute, I thought we were supposed to be blocked here, but I'm looking back at the track record, and every time this kitten said that she's going to do it, she's done it. So I guess that's what we do here now. And then we start to move through it. Will there be resistance? Yes, but we're definitely much more resourced to move through it.
it's so powerful. I love the concept too, this power of eight idea,
Mhm.
because well, I didn't have that concept, but I know
Yeah.
that I understand the
Yeah. You
process.
apply it. You apply it in the CEO, the soul centered CEO. Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, I really, really feel like that's what we've created in the collective. It's just this,
Hmm.
I want your dreams to come true, and vice versa. So we're like
Hmm.
all in it together to
Hmm.
help encourage. And again, kind of when one boat rises, we all rise.
Yeah. The
And
rising tide lifts all
yeah,
boats, I think they
it's
call
all
it.
boats, that thing,
Yeah.
whatever that.
That's the thing. Yes. This
That's
one. Yes.
um, but I love that that's actually a proven, theory and
It's
concept that.
scientifically proven. It's scientifically demonstrated. Lynn
Mm,
actually, the experiments that she did like double blind, triple blind, Dubry what's it, measuring in a lab before they even started doing real world human experiments and exploring quantum entanglement as a concept applied to intention setting in a group. They did
mm,
it in the lab and actually showed that this stuff works, like with plants, and they did it with like reducing violence in like violent, like in world like war situations. It's crazy to see the applications. So when we look at what can be done with this power, right? And like I said, in my own experience, I've seen miracles happen with healing. And
yeah.
then we bring it to something as simple as a couple $100, which are flying around the world anyway.
Right.
It's like it's a no-brainer. And then by the time you do get to those bigger numbers, you just spend. I mean, for example, one of the guys we've had another guy just locked in that he's locked in the deal that's going to get him to seven-figure club. He's been six figures club now. It took him 3 months. He joined the Accelerator Level 12 program. It took him 3 months to get to the six-figure club, and he's been there consistently. Now he's averaging a monthly income that puts him at 400,000 a year of income. Um, since that was his target that he hit last month, and now he's got a deal in the pipeline that's going to bring him to the seven-figure club. But it was like that, you know, getting from getting to the six like that, and then sitting there and just working with. you know what was coming up, and then something fell on his lap. It's really funny because the deal that's getting to 7 figures is actually something I'm doing as well. So I make 2 million off it as well. So it's really funny. So it's really funny that it's like, okay, there's my
Yeah.
payback. I'll make a couple million off this as well. But the journey, the work preceded the change. You know, it's like Tony Robbins says, change is instant. It's getting ready for the change. And you know, people at first are like, I don't need $100, I don't need $200, I need like 20 grand or whatever. It's like, stick with it, do the work at this level and see what happens. And when people do sit in the trenches with these smaller sums and building up to it, like we encourage people in our community to share. If you get, like, if you find a penny, celebrate as if it was a million. If you get a rebate of $100, celebrate as if it was 100 grand. But that energy is what expands and has people actually moving into new levels of wealth and getting to the point when they hit those edges, they glide on through them.
Yeah, that's so interesting because there's, one of the behavioral theories that I studied in like wellness around making change within for your health. There's like pre-contemplation where you're kind of, you're flittering around with it. There's contemplation where you're kind of like, well, now I probably need some new tennis shoes or like whatever the things are, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's not until you're ready for the action stage that the dominoes start to fall and the
Mm-hmm.
activity actually happens. So it's kind of similar in this way too. There's the preparation side of it, but then
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you're excited and you're ready to take action,
Yeah.
that's when the magic happens. And then it's like
Mm-hmm.
go time. I
Yeah.
love it.
And we use, you know, to the point of MicroShift, we use minimum deliverables. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's like we had people that did it year one, you know. I think our first millionaire, I think he was 7 months in, I think.
Okay. Oh,
And he's one of my funniest stories because we had people on the woo side that jumped in the gang at the beginning, and I'm seeing my $100 in the field, like I'm manifesting it now. And he's like a straight laced like corporate. He's like, Dan, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what these people are talking about. They're talking about the field. What field are they talking about? I think I'm in the wrong place.
field of dreams, like you build it.
What's going on? And I said, Josh, man, like, chill, don't worry, like everything's okay. And what's really funny is that he didn't have the money for the full buy-in at first.
Yeah.
He had to do a payment plan, and then like within 1 month, his business partner's like, here's 25 grand to invest in the business. And then people that owe him money just started like paying him money back. He wasn't asking him for it, like money that he'd forgotten just started getting paid back. Then he found out he was one of the beneficiaries of a $4 million class action lawsuit. And then like everything just went. And then within 3 months of that, he was making 6 figures a month in his business. And he wasn't doing those numbers before. And he's been consistently the top earner in his corporate group for the last, where are we now? 2 years, more than 2 years. And he's making, I don't know if he might even be making more than 7 figures a year now. But
Hmm.
he's killing the game. But he didn't even need to be like into every part of it, because there's people that don't understand the action part, there's people that don't understand the spiritual part, there's people that don't understand the mental part. But that's
Yeah.
okay. You just need to be open to the maybe. It's not even certainty that's needed with the work that we do, it's just being open to maybe. And that
Mm.
maybe met with the power and expansion of collaborative energy
Yeah.
moves mountains. It really does.
So powerful. So I know you're going to actually be teaching a bit of a masterclass series on some of this coming up,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Would you want to share maybe a little bit about that? Because I think
Yeah, sure.
people that are listening are going to want to attend. Um,
Yeah, so there's a tool, that a money manifesting tool that I created. I'm not going to kill the time telling the whole story. Suffice to say, when I was on my journey making the transition from, I closed down my 7 figure business, my consulting business, to come and do what I do now, and then it got to the point where I needed some money. I was like, well, let's test run some student experiment with this, and I created a tool called the Money Game. I've got a book about it called The Money Game. And I did a couple of challenges around this 5-day challenges over the past couple of years. And we found consistently that although the gain is only to create 10, whether it's euros, pounds, or dollars, the average is 1,500. Like
right?
the first time the average was about 12, the second time the average was about 1,600. But our records are $75,000 Australian dollars manifested in 2 days, $48,000, £27,000 manifested in 2 days. And then we've got fives and tens and stuff dotted around, but it was only to manifest 10.
Yep.
And so what actually ended up happening was, I mean, we've included this game at a higher level in the program, because you can use that to kind of get the ball rolling, but that's another story. But what we're doing with this challenge that we're doing from the 17th of May is we're taking that and I'm pulling more of what we actually do behind the scenes in Micro to Millions and got a 4-day immersive experience that's got in-depth teachings on what I actually show people how to do. So you can go in, actually play with this stuff around the mindset, around the emotional vibrational flow, around the strategy to do with money DNA, which is a concept that I've been teaching recently, that's been doing wonders for people. And we're spending 30 minutes a day. I'm going to be doing live visualizations, interactive coaching. People can get the chance to have some fun and get some prizes and stuff. But the money game bit that's done so much, that's the basic stuff that we're doing on day one,
Okay.
to put it in context. So day
Oh, wow.
one, we're doing what's been doing all of the magic before. We're doing that day one, then we're leaving that basic stuff behind
Yep.
and building on it so that everybody can have a completely new relationship to money, understand and really step into an acceptance of the natural abundance that's their birthright, and actually go away creating massive, massive results.
Love it. Okay, so that's happening May 17th through
May 17th, yeah, through 20th, 4 days.
4 days. Okay. So obviously we can grab a link and
Yeah,
put
we'll
that in
pop a link for people to
just
grab
that
a
way.
hold of that.
Anybody that wants to be part of that. And then obviously there will be an opportunity for them to dive in a little deeper if they feel called. So that's
Yeah,
going
if
to be
they're called, yeah, definitely come and do that. But I mean, as always, and I used to get into trouble for this. Like I never actually used to make any invitations at all when I did this stuff, and I do masterclasses and challenges. So it's by popular request, there's an opportunity to sort of come and hang out with us and do more. And that, you don't have to wait until then. But this
right.
is contribution is a big part of what I'm all about, and getting the results actually is where my payoff is. Whether or
Yeah.
not people decide to come and do something more, we're still going to be we're going to be fine over here. We're going to be fine over here. But people are called to step up and do something more with us and to allow us to be part of their journey. We'll be honored
Mhm.
to explore whether that's a fit, and if so, for them to be part of what we do. But really,
Yeah.
I just want people to come and get the most out of the challenge, not coming thinking, oh, when someone's going to ask for my credit card. Yeah, there's going to be an opportunity to get your credit card out and invest in something. But what's most important is you come in being open, because here's the thing, from a very selfish perspective, let's say that you're not in a place that you want to do anything with me now, right? You come and get some results. The people in your life might get a jizzy jazz off it and want to do something with us. Or more
Right.
importantly, that example that you're going to carry into the world is going to touch more people. The world that my son's going to grow up in is going to be a better place if more people are vibing in that way. Even from a perspective of, for me, the energetic bubble that I've created around myself through the people that I work with actually feeds me and supports me energetically and vibrationally, being at the place where I can live the life that I want to live too. So people adding that beautiful energy to the bubble that I'm in serves me. You get to manifest some money that serves you. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Well, and what you mentioned about your um, the roots of who you are, the truth of who you are, also as a philanthropist, and you
Hmm.
definitely have a heart for service and contribution. I think that's been such a blessing for us to have you with us in the collective, because that's really what we're trying to do is make more so we can give more. And so I love how
Hmm.
I mean, you've dedicated your work to that, to helping people create more abundance, and not
Hmm.
just for them, but so they can make a bigger impact and they can have a life
Hmm.
of and spend more time with people that they love. And so
Exactly.
it's an honor to have you with us in the collective, and it's always a pleasure to have these conversations. Of course, like I could talk to you all day. It's so great.
100%.
So
We gonna
yeah,
talk, yeah.
all day.
All day.
Okay, so is there anything that we want to wrap up with that you feel like is important that you haven't shared yet? I feel like, I mean, I'm
I think we've
ready.
given them a lot. I think we filled up the listeners. I don't want to get to the point where it's overload or whatever, but just one day at a time, minimum
Yeah,
deliverables. You don't have to do it all today. Just one
micro.
small shift in, and it doesn't have to be on all of those levels. It can just be one act of intentionality to kickstart your day, one conscious choice to up your vibrational flow, up your emotional state, one conscious choice to change a single thought, one conscious choice to change a habit and behavior. That done consistently over a period of time will always create change.
Beautiful, Dan. Thank you so much for your time, for your heart, for your work in the world. It's a
Thank you.
blessing to be
Likewise.
part of your community,
Likewise.
and I'm excited to see what magic unfolds during these upcoming 4 days. So
I'm excited too.
I look forward to the listeners that are able to join us, and obviously, if there's any questions, they'll be able to reach out to you directly or to me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
And
going to be in the group. We're integrating everything. We're wrapping everything into the group that I've got already, so that they can be part of an existing community where we've done this. So that the energy is going to be piping hot. But we're
Mhm.
really, really excited to get this party started.
Ready, ready, ready. Wonderful, Dan. Thank you so much. I will also put your links to your website and all the other things where they can contact you
Thank you,
directly.
thank you, thank you,
So, thanks again for your time today, and thank
thank you
you
for
all
having
for
me.
tuning in for this week's episode of the Soul Centered CEO Show. And we'll look forward to the next time.